So who are the best early units in Fire Emblem Engage Maddening and why? So to begin, let's talk about Chloe. Chloe is arguably one of the best early game units in the entire game outside of a Leer because she has really good speed, and if you throw her on Wyvern, she can completely carry your early game. Now this is an over-invested Chloe that could probably solo most of the early game maps. She has the Hero's Lance with Sigurd. She could also run Hero's Lance with Leaf, Marth, or just no engraving. You could also run Well Lance, you could run Steel Lance on her, and she would do similarly as well as this Chloe. And she also has Lance Power 3 from doing the Well. Without Lance Power 3, and even just with like a Steel Lance, she'll still double in one round most things. This is just kind of like overkill, but Chloe is arguably one of the best early game units. Another good early unit that you should invest in is a Leer. A Leer is a force deploy with a great passive and good growth rates. On Wyvern, a Leer can put in a lot of work and be kind of like a second Chloe. Now you can run swords or lances on a Leer early. You could also run axes if you want to try out like a Well Axe or a Hero's Axe build, both of which are pretty good. The Well Axe will require quite a bit of silver though, so if you're running the DLC and you have the extra silver from bonus pack 3, you can upgrade that thing pretty high, but if not, the hero's weapons are good. A steel sword with an engraving is good. You can run sword agility, you can run sword power, you can run agility or a void plus. All of those are fine. Generally, a Leer will be fast enough to double and will be strong enough to one round most things early game, so you can't go wrong investing in a Leer. Fram is also a solid option for early game. She has staff use, chain guard, and can situationally punch things to death for cleanup damage. You can also throw the Micaiah engraving on her body art so that when she chain guards or eventually bonded shields on Lucina, she can be very hard to hit as well as have passive evasion, but she's a really good free staff unit that just levels herself up from using staves. And with the Well update, you can get warp and rescues early before Chapter 10, which is pretty wild. She also has a pretty good passive that gives her and a Leer a Void plus 10, and combined with avoid tanking on either of them can enable one or both of them to be quite hard to hit. Long term, she can run Lucina Bonded Shield on Chi Adept, and she can run Flashing Fist Art with Lunar Brace to one round a lot of enemies. Funny enough, Amber actually isn't the worst investment. He actually has pretty high base strength, and he can reach Panette levels of strength. They actually have the same strength growth, so if you put him on Warrior and start leveling him up as one of your damage carries, he can pop off to some degree. Now, he does have kind of accuracy issues. He does have a passive that can improve his accuracy. Anna can be a really strong unit to invest in early game, and if you want to run her as like a low investment unit, all you have to do is just have her level up on Micaiah and then eventually become a Warrior. And then what you can do is throw a Radiant Bow on her and something like a Silver Axe, just have her smack things with an axe occasionally and shoot things down with Radiant Bow, as well as deal decent damage on Radiant Bow. This is a low investment Anna build. There are other Anna builds like Sage Anna for Byleth sieging, Mage Knight Anna for general DPS, and some people even run her on Bow Knight. You can also run her on Griffin Knight, so she has a lot of options, and she can be a low investment like backup unit. She can be a high investment hard carry. There's like a spectrum to how much investment you want to put into Anna. Similar to Anna, Jean is a pupil archetype. He does come in at a lower level though, but you can just use him as a chain guarding healer that has a support emblem long term if you don't want to actually invest in him, so that way he still has access to staves. He can still break bows, daggers, and tomes situationally, and he can chain guard as needed. Now, if you want to invest in him as a power carry, you're going to have to go out of your way to power level him up early, but he can pop off in a lot of different classes, magic and physical included, so he can be a good long-term investment, as well as for a low investment, you can just run him as a chain guarding staff user. Another early game unit that can pop off pretty quickly is actually Lapis, surprisingly. If you throw her on Wyvern, she becomes like a second Chloe with slightly worse hit rates. But ultimately, as long as her weapon has an accuracy engraving, she won't have hit rate issues. She's similarly fast to Chloe. She has similar strength and strength growth. She has similar build and build growth. On the hero's lance or sword or axe, she can pop off. And in this case, I'm running an avoid tank build with her, where she has lance agility, and then she also has speed taker for stacking speed. For my final recommendation, it would be Saline. So Saline is unique in that she has sword, tome, and staff access. Now she has decent speed growth, and with some speed fixing, she can double consistently. And on the Byleth emblem, she can use Thyrsus, which is also pretty useful. She can also run Levin Sword or Bolganone on her class, as well as use high rank staves enough to be able to warp. In this case, I'm running a Bolganone build, and this is a DLC run, but on base game, this is more for base game without DLC. You can use her, and she's a good kind of bruiser mage that can deal some damage, take a hit or two, and be a useful utility throughout your run. She can also have speed fixing so that she doubles consistently, and then she'll actually be pretty relevant. Now, if you just throw Byleth on her, Byleth improves magic and speed, which helps her double as well as increases her damage, and with Thyrsus, it increases her range, so she becomes a super tome user in a way. She can also trigger Ignis, which scales her damage for free, just randomly, and she has a pretty good passive Gentle Flower that scales all recovery items, so Vulnaries go from 15 to 22 health when used by other allies, and Elixirs go from 30 to 45, basically being a full heal. So pretty solid unit, good utility, good passive, pretty good unique class, and she can also do things like Levin Sword Override on Sigurd for huge damage, which is pretty powerful as well. So she has a few different options for builds, and if you just want to use her as a mage that debuffs with like Thoron or something, and uses Draconic Hex for like low investment, like so you don't want to use her as a damage carry or a hard carry, you can use her in that way as well. But that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to go over the better units of the early game. Now, if you are running DLC, you can Star Sphere anyone, and they will be good. So if you want to use units like Clan, Etier, even Vander, if you get Star Sphere on them early enough, they can become insane. So if you're a DLC user, there is hope for your favorite unit. If not, you're going to have to give them some special treatment to get them online, and they'll still be viable, but it'll take more effort. All right, so that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. We also have channel membership, and I also live stream. And the channel membership gets you a badge, as well as some channel emotes that can also be used during the live stream or on the comment section. All right, peace.